Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm at another amazing church. This is St Cadoc's in Llancarfan. It's a Grade 1 listed building that was built at the start of the 13th century. It sits on the site of a 6th century Celtic monastery. So this place has over 1500 years of Christian heritage. And what makes this church so special was back in 2006, builders were repairing a roof when they, by accident, discovered the ancient wall paintings that were hidden for 5 centuries. It wasn't until 2008 when conservationists came to investigate, and then on the 5th of February, they found the most amazing star of a Georgian dragon, which was below over 20 coats of lime wash. For the next 7 years, the very slow process of removing all these layers of paint took place. And finally, in 2015, the restoration was complete. So let's head inside and take a look at these astonishing wall paintings. You'll often find octagonal fonts inside these churches, but this font actually has 9 sides. There's a lot of paintings that have been rediscovered. These were believed to have been made at the end of the 14th century or start of early 15th. So let's go in the middle and say 1400. This is a great one, and it's of a young man, and around the corner is a skeleton, and it's as if he's getting dragged into the graveyard. There's lots of theories about this, but I would just like to think it's memento mori. Although when I look at the little doom figure, it does look like a woman to me, the size of it, and as if it's wearing a veil. Now, I'm not suggesting that women are the downfall of men, it's just an observation. Joking aside, you'll actually find quite a few doom figures inside churches, and the best one I've ever seen is in St Issue's Church, and I'll put a link to that at the end of this video. The next painting we'll talk about, and it's the biggest one in the church, is George and the Dragon. Now, inside the church, there's little booklets, and I bought one, and it's all about this painting. But the problem with the modern day church, it's so woke. It's basically saying that when you find a St George's in a Welsh church, that's because it wasn't the patron saint of England back then. And then bizarrely, it starts talking about racism and football fans. Absolute load of rubbish, and I'm not even entertaining that. When you look at the facts, we know these paintings were done around 1400. St George was made patron saint of England in around 1348, so about 50 years before these paintings. And you can clearly see on his shield an English flag. So because I'm open-minded and I don't just believe everything I'm told about history, I'd prefer to believe that back then the Welsh and English were fine with each other. And this just depicts a story about good versus evil. I'm sure that when Henry VIII came along and started to mess up everything and destroy all this history, like painting over these walls, that's when things started to get a little bit sour. And before anyone comments on reasons the English and Welsh hate each other, please refrain on doing so. It's about time we stop living under the divide and conquer programming. So on to the next set of pictures. These are the 7 deadly sins. I really like these pictures. It appears that there's a man lying down on the ground and these strange snake-like parasitical creatures are coming out of him, each one going to a different scene. I'm not quite sure why, but there appears to be 2 sloths and no envy. We'll have a closer look at them now. This one is lust, and that's quite obvious. Some of them are not so obvious. This is the first sloth. I'm not sure why, really. The next 2 are pride and envy, and you might well have to pause the video here. This one is avarice or greed. Back down to the second sloth, which, if you don't know, just basically means laziness. And on the corner of the window, we have gluttony, and he does look like a gluttonous pig. On the other side of the window, you'll find some more wall paintings, I couldn't find any information about these ones, so I don't want to speculate. Back in the 15th century, these churches were covered in paintings, so I'm sure there's much more inside this church that haven't been found yet. That's all the wall paintings. Let's have a look around the rest of the church now. This is the south aisle, the same side as the paintings. And when you walk through to the chapel, you go underneath like a rood screen, and this is believed to be made from the original rood screen. The church doesn't have any stained glass windows, but I found an interesting story which documents back in the 17th century there was a magnificent stained glass window in the chancel, but a villager named Witten Bush destroyed the glass by repeatedly striking it and shouting, "Down with the whore of Babylon." So I guess that proves that there's always been deranged people. Now that's definitely not a way you want to go down in history. Here we can see some more paintings peeping through. I'm not sure if they plan to go around the whole of this church and restore it. It has cost well over £500,000 to do this, so I guess they've run out of money now. There's two really nice ledger stones in the nave. This one looks like a mixture of two families, the Morgan and Gibbon family, from the 1700s. And next to it, an even nicer one, and I assume this is Latin. This is Elizabeth, who died aged 41 in 1687. This was roughly the original place where the font was kept before it was moved to the south aisle. The small organ was made by an Oxford company, and it seems to be in a weird place right in front of the West Tower. In 1887, the church had a major renovation, and this is when the West Tower was rebuilt. It looks like there's 6 bells hanging in the tower. Walking down the nave, you can see that the rood screen is gone now, and it's been made to separate the south aisle from the chapel. This bit's believed to be where the staircase and rood loft would have been. As you walk through the chancel down towards the altar, you'll notice this rather elaborate altar screen. This was made in 1510 AD. This is not original to the church, it's in a totally different style. It's believed it was removed from either an abbey or cathedral to protect it from the Reformation soldiers who would have definitely destroyed it. This has also been recently restored. If you would like to visit this amazing church, it's open to visitors every day between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Let's go back outside now and have a quick look around the graveyard. The outside of the building is in great condition, and I actually really like this lime wash. It does suit this church. There's some really interesting coffin style graves outside the porch. I could only find one war grave. This is Robert Griffiths from the Royal Army Ordnance Corps. He died the 8th of May 1945. His age unknown. I had to do some homework today because there's a flag flying on top of the tower and I hadn't got a clue what it was. It turns out it's the flag of the church in Wales. This has a blue cross on a white background with a gold Celtic cross in the centre. This flag was officially adopted by the church in Wales in 1954. It's viewed as a uniquely Welsh flag. I guess it's true what they say. You learn something every day. I hope you really enjoyed today's video and also learnt something new. There's no drone footage as I'm so close to Cardiff Airport here. It's a no-fly zone, which is a bit of a shame because it was such a lovely day. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all really soon.